This is Tom Fox, and I'd like to welcome you to a new season of Adventures in Compliance. This season, I'm going to take up the second set of 12 short stories published in the Strand magazine in 1893 and 1894, which were collected in the book The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes was published in the United Kingdom by G. Loons and in the U.S. by Harper's and Brothers. It's the second collection featuring the consulted detective Sherlock Holmes. The Final Problem was published in this series, and that remains one of the top Sherlock Holmes stories of all time, as Doyle was determined to kill off Sherlock Holmes, his most famous character, due to not simply its popularity, but how Holmes in many ways had taken over the life of Doyle the writer. I hope you'll take this opportunity to not simply listen to this podcast series, but also to reread the stories in the Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. Today we begin an exploration of the Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes with the story of Silver Blaze. It is, of course, one of 56 Sherlock Holmes short stories by Conan Doyle, and it's the first in the collection of the Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. It was first published in the Strand magazine in December of 1892. This story takes place in Dartmoor, which is one of the 7 wonders of Britain, a vast expanse of wilderness that is simultaneously among the most beautiful and the most desolate landscapes in England. Covering some 368 square miles on the southwestern peninsula, it is pocked with great granite sculptures known as tors, but is littered too by bogs and swamps. Our story begins as Holmes makes his first visit to Dartmoor, and for days, the newspapers of the land had been transfixed by the disappearance of one of the most successful racehorses of the age, Silver Blaze, and the murder of the horse trainer John Straker. A massive blow to his head had killed Straker. The police, headed up by Inspector Gregory, had already taken a man into custody, a London bookmaker named Fitzroy Simpson. However, Holmes was convinced that there was more to the story than met the eye, including the most vexatious question of all: where was the horse? There was, after all, no reason for Simpson to kill the animal. Neither was there really any point in having him stolen. What was he going to do with it once he got it home? The answer, Holmes was convinced, is closer to hand than any outlandish conjecture which the police might allow. Recalling the case of the man with the twisted lips and the wonders that can be accomplished with a pot of paint, Holmes approaches an altogether different-looking nag and announces, "You only have to wash his face and his leg in spirits of wine, and you will find that he is the same Silver Blaze as ever." The animal had been disguised. Other mysteries arise and are unraveled. Perhaps one of the most memorable scenes from Sherlock Holmes is a guard dog that did not bark. And what does it mean when a dog does not bark at the sight of an intruder in a stable? A normally vigilant stable boy was discovered to have been drugged with opium, despite eating only a meal provided at Straker's own table. A small blade was found with the body, matching that which caused a sudden outbreak of lambing among another farmer's sheep. And the milliner's bill in the dead man's pocket made out to one William Derbyshire. This, Holmes quickly discovers, was a pseudonym for Straker himself. The clues pile up. Straker is in need of cash to satisfy an unexpectedly expensive mistress. First he drugged the stable boy, then he crossed the stable without alerting the dog because the dog knew him and would not therefore sound the alarm. So we have the answer to the question, why didn't the dog bark? Straker led Silver Maze out onto the moor, intending to fix an upcoming race by hamstringing the horse with the knife. He had practiced on the sheep, so he knew what he was doing. But so, however, it seems did Silver Blaze. The horse lashed out, delivering Straker a fatal blow in the head with one of his hooves. There are many inconsistencies in this story which alert the reader that they may or may not want to stew upon. But this is still considered one of Holmes' most beloved stories, and Conan Doyle as well. Making a list of what is considered to be his best stories, Conan Doyle rated this number 13 out of 56. I thought in this episode of our podcast series, we would take a look at some of the investigative lessons learned from the adventure of Silver Blaze. Number 1, attention to detail. Sherlock Holmes emphasizes the importance of observing even the smallest details. In the story, Holmes notices several seemingly insignificant clues that provide crucial in solving the case. This highlights the need for any compliance investigator to pay attention to every detail, no matter how trivial it may appear. Number 2, contextual analysis. Holmes examines the circumstances surrounding the crime and seeks to understand the broader context. He considers various factors such as the behavior of people involved, the nature of the crime scene, and the motivation of the subjects. The lesson emphasizes the significance of understanding the context and building a comprehensive understanding of any case or investigation that you might be heading up. Next, deductive reasoning. Of course, Holmes is well renowned for his deductive reasoning skills. He draws on logical conclusions based on the available evidence and eliminates improbable scenarios. Investigators can learn from this approach using logical thinking to eliminate false leads and narrow down possibilities. Number 4, disguised evidence. In Silver Blaze, Holmes notes the absence of an expected evidence as a significant clue, i.e., the dog not barking. He deduces that a certain action was taken because he notices the lack of the dog bark. This teaches investigators to look for the presence or absence of evidence that may be disguised or unexpected, as it can provide valuable insights. Number 5, information gathering. This is absolutely critical in the investigative process, and Holmes emphasizes the importance of gathering information from various sources. He interacts with different characters and collects testimonies from multiple sources, including witnesses, documents, forensic evidence, and other evidence to obtain a comprehensive understanding of the situation. Next up, pattern recognition. How about that for presaging data analytics? Holmes excels at recognizing patterns and connecting seemingly unrelated pieces of information. This ability allows him to identify the truth and solve the case. Investigators should develop pattern recognition skills to identify connections and associations, which may lead to crucial breakthroughs. It can also mean data analytics. Data analytics can be similar to finding patterns in raked leaves. And I would encourage you to use data analytics in your investigation. Next up, intuition and creativity. Although Holmes relies heavily on logical reasoning, he also values intuition and creativity. Sometimes unconventional or imaginative approaches can uncover hidden insights. Investigators should be open to unconventional ideas and think creatively to explore all possibilities. Next up, collaboration and consultation. Holmes frequently collaborates with others. He is not siloed. Of course, there's his trusted associate, Dr. Watson, to exchange ideas and gain different perspectives. Investigators and indeed compliance professionals can benefit from seeking advice or collaborating with colleagues to enhance their problem-solving skills and uncover new insights. These investigative lessons from the adventure of Silver Blaze highlight the importance of attention to detail, contextual analysis, deductive reasoning, information gathering, and pattern recognition, intuition, creativity, collaboration, and consultation. By incorporating these lessons into your investigative practices, compliance investigators can improve their ability to solve complex problems. Hope you'll join us in our next episode where we take a look at the adventure of the cardboard box. If you've enjoyed this episode, I hope you'll subscribe, rate, and review to Adventures in Compliance, wherever great podcasts are listened to, or perhaps even on YouTube. I also hope that you will take this opportunity to reread some of the great Conan Doyle short stories found in the collected works, the Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. If you'd like to take a deep dive into a particular short story, I'd love to visit with you. So please give me a shout at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. Adventures in Compliance is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.